Hello, and welcome to episode 35 in a series of Scottish mountain walking guides. Today I'm returning to Dalmally to climb Beinn Eunaich and Beinn Eunaich. The parking layby is around an hour and 45 minutes drive from Glasgow. Parking is free, but there is only space for 4 or 5 cars. The closest public toilet is in Tindrum, and that's about 20 minutes drive away. The total distance for today's walk is 13.6 kilometres, with around 1220 metres of ascent, and it is expected to take around 5.5 hours to walk. It is possible to include these two Munros when climbing Beinn Eunaich and Stob Deaf. The total distance would be 27 kilometres, of which you can cycle 7 kilometres by leaving a bike at the layby on your way to the Beinn Eunaich train station parking layby. I've not walked this route, so the section between Stob Deaf and Beinn Eunaich, so this bit looks a little bit steeper and it looks like it's got a number of crags on it. When I was climbing Beinn Eunaich, I did meet a couple of walkers who were planning to do all 4 Munros in the one day, and you would simply cycle this section here along the bottom, and that's 7 kilometres, which would take the total walking distance down to 20 kilometres. However, returning to today's walk, and as always I've included links in the description to both this route and the longer route including Beinn Eunaich and to the car park. So from the parking layby, I'll just zoom in a little bit. The parking layby is just before the bridge that crosses over this river. So on the right hand side of the road as you're approaching, you park here. Leaving this car park you cross the bridge, and just within a matter of metres you'll go through what was an open gate. There is a track here, there's a road that goes into a farm, so you go through that and follow that road. You'll follow the road round, and then it comes outside Castle's farm here, and then you're going to turn to your left and you follow this road. It's a gravel road at this point. Follow this road all the way up the side of the mountain here. It dips down a little bit and descends a little bit as it crosses this stream, and this is probably your last source of water before you go up onto the mountain. And then you follow this track up this side, and then it doubles back, and it's right here where you actually go onto the mountainside, and then you're going to go up a grassy mountain. The path is quite easy and clear to follow, and it was an easy walk to climb up this section. It's relatively steep, but the path itself is quite good to walk on. Once you come up onto the ridge, you're going to turn left and follow that ridge all the way along to the summit here. Now you'll see in the 3D map, just around about here there's a spike. That's just a glitch on the 3D map, so the fly through isn't accurate. There's no big steep piece of rock there to climb up. It's not real. So you go all the way along to the summit here, and then from the summit you walk back along this ridge. It's quite a nice broad ridge. There's nothing really intimidating, or there's no real exposure. I was in clouds so I didn't get good views, but I think on a clear day you get good views from here. You work your way back along. There's a little cairn at the top here, you pass that, and then you'll start to come down a section, and it's not a difficult descent. There's a little bit here and there where you might have to put your hands on the rocks, but basically it's just a series of steps down a rocky descent. And then you come to the bealach, and then go back up the other side. It's quite a steep ascent. There's some sections of rock where the path isn't as clear, but as long as you keep making your way up, it bends round a little bit to the right, and then you'll come to the summit of Beinn Eunaich. And then from the summit of Beinn Eunaich you go directly south. Again, it's a clear path to follow. There was one section just a certain way amount down, probably around about here, where it got a little bit less clear, but I showed that in the video, and you literally had to walk on a few metres and then you could pick up the path again. It was just a little bit boggier and a little bit softer ground. Now you keep following that track. Most of it is very obvious and very clear, and you'll come down here and then it'll bend round to your right as you're descending. This bit is quite steep, and personally I feel this would be easier to descend than to ascend, but it's not that long a section. And you work your way down until you're back onto the road, and then from there you follow the road all the way back out the same way you came in. It is a very clear route to follow, this one. Good morning. It's going to be a wet day today. I'm at the start of the walk for the two Munros that are to the east of Beinn Eunaich, Chochuill and Beinn Eunaich. 6:30 in the morning. The weather's meant to be wet today. Not too bad until 11-12 o'clock maybe, and then very wet. Parking area here, it's only big enough, maybe 5 cars. There's already 2 vans, so yeah, it's not a big parking space. Need to get here early. Still to get my breakfast. It's now 7:20 in the morning, so we head east, continuing on the road that we came in to park on, just for a short distance to that gate you can see open there, and then we go to the left. Looks like it's a decent road, quite a good way up this side of the mountain before we actually turn up onto the steep stuff. So I'll just go down here a little bit. So we go through this gate and follow the path heading in a northerly direction. So it looks like we're going up that path you can see clearly cut into the side of the hillside there, and then when it passes behind that first hill it comes back out, and directly in the centre of screen it's going to go up the edge there up into the cloud, and the first summit is up about centre screen roughly. From there we turn to the right as you're looking at it and go along the ridge, second summit, and then come back down the side of this hill here. So far the rain's staying off. I'm going to follow the road or track that goes up to the left now. I've walked about 1.5 kilometres from the car park. The path is starting to level off after a reasonably steep uphill section on the road. It's a nice road to walk on, or gravel track. The path curves round, drops down a little bit, doubles back on the hillside over there before going up the edge. The cloud is lifting a little bit. It's about a 30% chance of the tops being clear today. So we'll just keep going on. A large cairn here at the side of the track. That signifies either your ascent path, if you want to do it in an anti-clockwise direction, you can go up here, or in my case this will be where I descend and join the road back up. I'm just going to go straight on. As I mentioned at the start, you could do this with Beinn Eunaich and stop deaf, and then you would come down that bealach over there and continue up that ridge, do the top there, go around, do the other top, come back down to that cairn, and you could drop a bike off at the parking layby on your way to the start for Beinn Eunaich, and that would make quite a nice walk. Just approaching the cut back to the right. Go up here, it won't be too far before we find a cairn, and then go up onto the side of the mountain proper on the left hand side. Quite a small cairn on the left hand side. This is where we turn up onto the mountain and follow the path. I think the path will be quite clear most of the way up here. And you can see back down the valley. I'm currently at 400 meters in altitude. This steep section takes us up to the ridge at 840 meters. And then the summit is about 940 meters. That's the first rain shower coming in. Just going to put my waterproofs on. A little bit of brightness. Still a way to go. As you can see, I've now entered the cloud. I'm at 640 meters. There's brief openings where you can see down, but mostly it's quite grey and a little bit damp. Another 200 meters up onto the ridge, and then another 100 meters from there to the summit in altitude. Made it up onto the ridge proper now. It's actually 880 metres, so probably about 80 metres or so to the summit. A gentle walk along the ridge, heading in a westerly direction. Just under 1 kilometre to the summit from here. There is a little bit of up and down as you go along the ridge, and I'm sure on a clear day you get amazing views from here. So that's me just approaching the summit of Beinn Eunaich. Small rubbly cairn for this one. Time is 9:20, so 2 hours and 10 minutes to the top. On a clear day you get a good view of Beinn Eunaich and Stop Deaf in that direction. So I'm not going to stop around here, I'm just going to retrace my steps and move on to the next top. So retracing our steps back to the point that we came onto the ridge and then continuing on eastwards. The north side of this ridge has a little bit of exposure. There's a bit of a drop. It's not too steep and the ridge is quite wide, so it's a nice pleasant walk even when it's in the cloud. So back at that little cairn where we joined the ridge, just keep heading east from here. There is a clear path for a while, then it gets a little bit faint. The path is going to bend slightly to the right as we're descending here. If it was a clear day it'd be quite obvious because you're keeping to the high point as this ridge descends between here and Beinn Eunaich. Once it starts to descend a little bit more steeply, the path is more clear. Brief moment of clarity. I'm going to descend down here to the bealach there and back up the other side, back up into the clouds. There's a few little rocky bits to come down. It's not like climbing, you just got to be careful it's not slippy where you put your feet. Other than that, it's a straightforward walk down there. The bealach is a natural funnel point for the wind, so once I step out beyond that rock there, it's quite breezy. You can see the cloud whipping over. So I just make it across the other side. From here it's 1 kilometre to the top of Beinn Eunaich and 260 metres of ascent. When the sun does come through you get a wee bit of a rainbow there, and then a lot of cloud over here. Rain's come on quite strong now. Battery in the GoPro died, so it's time to change it. I managed to find a little group of boulders to get behind to get out of the wind. Phone is almost unusable. The rain is hitting the screen and keeps randomly doing different things. I'm at 840 metres, the summit's about 960 metres, so 120 metres to go on a rather wet day. And then about 2 minutes later, the rain's gone off. just stopped to have something to eat and the sun's come out. Well, that's nice. The wind chill and the damp was making it quite cold. Even got a little bit of blue sky. Meters of ascent to go, so the top's just up there. I found a little bit to get out of the wind again. My hands are going numb with the wind chill, so I've just got my gloves out the bag just before I can't use my fingers anymore. So even in the middle of summer, it's the middle of July, hottest time of the year in Scotland, and still the wind chill and the cold in the mountains can cause your hands to numb up and not be usable. That's taken 3.5 hours to reach the summit of Beinn Eunaich. It's a tiny windbreak of a cairn here. So it doesn't look like it's going to clear up. Might wait around 5 minutes or so if I can get out of the wind a little bit behind this little cairn. So sitting down behind the cairn, it's not too windy. I've checked OS maps, it's just under 5 kilometres from here back to the van, with 6 metres of ascent on the way down. OS maps estimates it'll take 1 hour and 10 minutes, but I find that OS maps is a little bit faster paced than what I do, so probably 1.5 hours to 2 hours to get back. We'll see how it goes. Unfortunately, not much to see from the top today. On a clear day, you should expect to see Beinn Eunaich directly east from here. And directly north is Beinn Staraf in Glen Etive, which I've not climbed in this series yet, but I'll get round to that at some point. And Cruachan is over to the west. I'm going to start making my way down now, heading directly south from the summit here. The view's starting to open up. So coming down there, I've been going in a southerly direction, but now the path, it gets very faint here, but it does go on there and bends slightly south-west. And if it's clear, it's easy. You just keep on the ridge that's straight ahead of us. So we come down from up there. It was a wee bit rockier. You see the path at the side. You do not follow this line of rocks. We go down this way. So the path is a little bit faint at this point, but I can see it getting stronger again in the distance. Just starting to come out of the cloud now, going down a little bit steeper section. It's going to flatten off, and in about a kilometre's time I'm going to turn to the right and go off the side of that edge just over there. It's actually quite a short walk, this one. And then just like that, the sun comes out. There is a chance, if I left an hour or so later, you might have got on the top as that open cloud passes over. Never mind, there's always next time. Well, I never imagined I'd get such a nice view on the way down, not compared to how it's been once I got up to altitude. Just approaching the right bend, right before that peat bank that you can see there. Follow the path and it bends right and it starts to descend quite steeply down the side of the mountainside. And then you can see in the distance there, Chochuill Castle. Looks like that's about as much as it's going to clear up. Doesn't seem to be rising anymore. So I'm going to head on down, try and get back to the van before I get soaked. I can see rainfall over there and it's coming directly towards me. Probably another 45 minutes to get back down to the van. I can see the van from here. It is quite a steep descent here. Walking poles definitely helping. A little bit slippy, nowhere near as bad as Beinn Eunaich on that descent, but something to be aware of. I'm back down at the gravel path. There's the cairn that I pointed out earlier this morning. The top's still in cloud, but the weather's better than it was. Turn left and then just follow the gravel road all the way out. Nice easy walk back to the van. Straight ahead up at the back is Stop Deaf, and then just going round to Bealach. and Beinn Eunaich. Well, the summit of Beinn Eunaich's way up behind what you can see straight ahead. As always, hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope it's been informative. Not necessarily the best scenery today. Time is now 12:20. It's probably another 10 minutes back to the van. Total walking time just over 5 hours. Actually, walking time is probably about 4.5 hours if I take away breaks and stopping to video. Thanks for watching.